You've been asking to see all three camera systems on the Mavic 4 Pro, and that's what this video is all about. What's going on, guys? My name is Dan Davis and I'm the creative director here on danstube.tv, and in today's video I'm showcasing all three cameras on the Mavic 4 Pro. So you get to see the main Hasselblad system, you get to also go into the telephoto system and the medium telephoto system to see what each of them can capture, what the footage looks like, and what you can expect out of the photos and videos from this drone. The Mavic 4 Pro features three camera systems. Now, we saw this with the Mavic 3 Pro, but we've got some huge improvements here to the camera systems. So the main camera system is the Hasselblad 4/3" CMOS sensor. So it is a micro four thirds camera system, very similar to a lot of mirrorless camera systems out there. So it is high quality and it can now capture 6K 60 frames per second HDR. So huge leap forward when we compare it to the 5.1K on the Mavic 3 Pro. We've now got 6K 60 frames per second in HDR. Huge leap forward, and it looks beautiful. We also can capture up 100 megapixel stills from the Mavic 4 Pro. The main Hasselblad system can also capture 4K up to 120 frames per second in slow motion. There is adjustable aperture as well, which is great to see from that main camera system. I've been using the Mavic 4 Pro Creator Combo, so that comes with 512 gigabytes of internal storage, and you can also capture 10-bit video 422 with the All-I codec. So we're getting a really nice improvement here to the codec when we compare it to other previous versions. So if we look at the Mavic 3 Pro, that did have Apple ProRes with the Cine edition, but the Pro edition didn't have that. So you had to get the Cine edition to get that. But with the Mavic 4 Pro, we're getting a really high grade codec here with the All-I. There's no ProRes, no Apple ProRes on this unit, but still looks flawless when you're capturing 6K footage. Looking at the medium tele system, this is a camera system we've seen on a few other drones recently from DJI. It is a 1/1.3" CMOS sensor, and it can capture 48 megapixel stills, which we've seen across the board from the Mini 4 Pro and the Air 3S. Now, it can capture 4K 60 frames per second HDR, and you also get the option to capture 4K 120 frames per second slow motion. So same slow motion option here with the Hasselblad and that medium tele system. And I'm really loving that 1/1.3" sensor. It is a solid sensor we've seen now for a while from DJI, and it's just a reliable, consistent sensor across the board. If we look at that tele camera system, that's where you get huge zoom, and it is a 1/1.5" CMOS sensor, can capture 50 megapixel stills, and it also has the option to capture 4K 60 frames per second HDR, just like the medium telephoto system. But when it comes to slow motion, you're only getting 4K up to 100 frames per second. You can't go 120, you can go up to 100 frames per second though in slow motion. And I would say all three cameras have a beautiful color science to them. You can use the footage from each camera and it works beautifully. Obviously, the main camera system is the better sensor. It is the main sensor. 6K footage is going to look a lot crispier than the others. Using the high-end codec is obviously going to make a big difference. And the fact that it's a larger camera system with adjustable aperture, that main Hasselblad is the king. It's the huge upgrade here, but the fact that all three cameras work well together is great to see. The Mavic 4 Pro does have an infinity gimbal, so it can go up to 400 degrees of rotation if you're manually controlling it, or 360 degrees of rotation if you're using the rotate quick shot mode. I've got a whole separate video on the channel to showcase the infinity gimbal, so definitely go and check that out. That's not what this video is about. But when we talk about the camera system, we do get true vertical shooting now. So it's the first time on a Mavic range that we've got, well, at recent times, because I believe the original actually did rotate, but in recent times, right, if we look at the Mavic 2 Pro and then the Mavic 3 Pro, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe they rotated. So if we look at this guy, it does have full true vertical rotation. So it rotates the camera so that you can capture content in true vertical. Huge difference here, as opposed to having to crop it in post-production or having the system crop it, the software crop it for you. This is just the camera physically turning and giving you true vertical video. If you are interested in the Mavic 4 Pro, then I do have some links down in the description below. If you're based in Australia, make sure to go to the D1 store. You can reach out to them, sales@d1store.com.au. Mention Dan's Tube to save on most drones, cameras, and accessories. I would recommend reaching out to them directly and just asking them what they can do. You can set up a different bundle potentially that you wanted to get, or you can find, you know, a certain deal or combo or whatever it may be that works for your needs. Definitely reach out to them, mention DanceTube. You can also use the code DanceTube on their website for select drones, cameras, and accessories. And I will also have some links down below for my international viewers, so don't stress. I've got you hooked up and sorted out down there. Now you can capture 4K up to 60 frames per second in the vertical video mode, and you also get 70 degrees of upward tilt from the camera system just in general. So if you're just capturing, you know, landscape like this, you can tilt up to 70 degrees to get quite a unique perspective. That's a great range of motion, and we also get the infinity gimbal. So as you'll see throughout this video, there's a lot of rotating videos. So you can use the quick shot mode that will give you full control over, you know, certain parameters, or you can go full manual mode where you adjust how fast you want that rotation to happen, and that's where you also get up to 400 degrees of rotation. Now there are limitations when it comes to the rotation. It depends on how much tilt you've got on the camera. So if you're tilting a little bit far down, it won't rotate much. It will only give you limited range of rotation. So I've found that the best results come when the camera is pointing pretty much straight on, and then you get the full range of rotation up to 400 degrees. But you can rotate even in vertical video, as well as just the normal main horizontal video that you would be used to. So you get full control in both options, and you do have some customization when it comes to tilting as well as rotating at the same time. We're getting a lot of different color options here, and we're getting 10-bit across the board, which is so cool to see. So regardless if you're using the Hasselblad, the medium tele, or the tele camera, you get 10-bit color across the board, and you can also use the All-I codec across the board as well with that 10-bit color. So that's really nice to see. And then on top of that, you can use HLG, D-Log-M, and D-Log as well. If we're looking at the different lenses here, because this is quite important to know what the format equivalent is so that you can have a rough idea of what to expect from the cameras. So the Hasselblad is a 28mm equivalent, very standard looking shot. You've seen this pretty much for years now from all sorts of drones and other cameras. So it's quite a standard looking camera, and it is a wide camera, so you get a lot in there. 28mm equivalent, and you get an aperture of f2.0 to f11. So you get a decent range of aperture here to really adjust the image. When we look at the medium tele system, that is a 70mm equivalent, and the aperture is fixed at 2.8. I really love that medium tele. Great compression, love that 1/1.3 inch sensor, looks beautiful. We've seen it now for a while, and it's a very solid system. And then we've got the telecamera system, which is 168mm equivalent, and again, fixed aperture of 2.8. And the medium here is definitely my preferred one over the tele, but the tele has definitely stepped up since the previous version. I find it's a lot more reliable in the sense of color and focusing. Focusing seemed to be a bit of a challenge in the past with that huge like zoom point, but no, it's great here with the Mavic 4 Pro. When we look a little bit more into depth with the different zoom options, so the standard zoom options is 1x, which is the main camera system, 2.5x, which is the medium telephoto system, and then we've got that 6x, which is the telecamera system. Beyond that though, you can get variations of digital zoom, and that still looks really crispy, nice high quality, because the cameras have been improved here. So with the Hasselblad camera, it's 1 to 2.5x. The medium telecamera system is 2.5x to 6x, and the telecamera system is 6x to 24x. So you can get up to 24x with digital zoom. Really unusable at that point, not really necessary, but really cool to see nonetheless. The fact that you can see something in the distance, like in the distance, kilometers away, and the drone's just above you, is insane to see in person. When it comes to the photo quality from the three camera systems here, the Hasselblad can actually capture 100 megapixel stills. So that's a huge leap forward. The Mavic 3 Pro could only capture 20 megapixel stills. So we've got that huge upgrade to 100 megapixel stills on the main Hasselblad system. When we look at the medium tele system, that can capture 48 megapixel stills, which we've seen in the past from from that 1/1.3 inch sensor. So we've come to love that 48 megapixel option, and it looks great, perfectly fine, but the Hasselblad is the huge standout, obviously. And then the tele camera system can capture 50 megapixel stills here as well. So that's a huge leap forward when we compare it with the Mavic 3 Pro's telecamera system, which could only capture 12 megapixel stills by default. So we're getting 50 megapixel stills here, which is a big upgrade. And I would say photos have been great. I love how they pop. I love the color science, dynamic range of everything that's going on. It's just beautiful time and time again, regardless if it's video or photo that you're capturing here. And photos look crispy every time. So there will be photos throughout this video and you can see how it goes. Even in some of that low light scenario where I've got the sun coming down, it just stands out. It looks phenomenal. And that was with me using the zoom lens because I was really far away from the mountains in these particular examples, but it still looks flawless. I've been extremely impressed with this camera system. When I think about it in comparison to the Mavic 3 Pro, the Mavic 3 Pro still has a phenomenal camera system. And I've had a few people in the comments telling me that the Mavic 3 Pro Cine is better than this because of the ProRes and because they just preferred that system. Now, I don't know whether they've even used the Mavic 4 Pro. From my experiences, I never got to use ProRes. I never had the Cine edition. I just had the Mavic 3 Pro. So I'm comparing the Mavic 4 Pro to the Mavic 3 Pro. And when I think about it in that context, this does feel like a huge leap forward. The Hasselblad system at 6K just looks so much better. The fact that we've got HDR across the board, pretty much regardless of what you're shooting in, is great. Love all the slow motion options, love the improvements to the camera systems. Everything just feels a lot tighter here. We've got some great range of motion with the tilt, we've got the full rotation on the gimbal, and it's a very, 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 very versatile camera system. You have a lot of control here and never had an issue with anything. Like focusing is bang on this time. You can even tap on a subject and as you're recording, and it will draw a box around that subject to start focusing on that subject. So even though you're not tracking the subject, it's going to prioritize that subject as the focus point. You've got a lot of controls with the waypoints and the master shots modes. You've got master shots, you've got the rotate feature, the waypoints is a great option, all the different active track modes that work really well. So I think this is a huge improvement here. I really like all three cameras here. They all do a great job in their own right. I definitely have noticed an improvement to the 168mm camera system, that tele camera system. Definitely feels or looks a lot better in my opinion. The focusing's a lot better, the clarity's a lot cleaner. The main Hasselblad at 6K, 60 FPS HDR is just an insane leap forward. So yeah, I think that if you're going to upgrade and you're wondering what it's going to look like, what to expect, that's what this whole video is about. Throughout it, I've been showing you all the different footage that you can capture from it, the perspectives, the compression, the dynamic range on these three camera systems has improved as well. So that's really awesome to see. And I cannot floor the camera systems as a whole. I think this is, it is the best camera experience I've had with a drone, and they've knocked it out of the park with this one. Anyway guys, that's the end of this video. I would appreciate your comments down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think this is an improvement? Are you going to get yourself one? Do you have any other questions about how to use the cameras or the modes or anything like that? And I can definitely make sure to make a video on it. I appreciate all the support, and I'll chat to you the next one. Peace.